Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and last night I was watching My Name Is Byf's video do a 30-minute review on a 1 minute and 54 long trailer, so some people don't really have the time to watch that, and I'm going to explain this in the most memey way possible, and in things that actually matter in the story of things, I will pause and actually explain them as Byf did. But if you want to go watch his video, I'll link it in the description, because it actually is a really good video and worth the watch. But if you don't have the time, I'll skim through this in about probably less than 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more, but let's just get right into it. This is the Beyond Light Europa trailer, and yeah, really not much else I can say about it. Obviously, broken Vex structure, let's get going.
What have you
Darkness. Stuff. Darkness. Monolith.
seen?
Okay, actually this is interesting. My Name Is Byf actually just put, right here, if you can see my mouse, right here on the screen. If you go to the Dreaming City, you can actually see a chest very similar to this. And I'm not 100% sure why something so similar is in Darkness architecture. But it doesn't seem that this is a chest due to the fact that the Guardian, by proportion, is very small on top of it. He didn't mention it too much because he was like, we don't really know what it is yet. I think it's actually just going to end up being something that we can walk on. It's not really going to have any actual importance. But this is interesting to mention due to the fact that he didn't really explain what they are, and you see them multiple times throughout the trailer, so I just wanted to clarify that. I think that they're going to be some sort of trailer, and what we're seeing is trailer in the front, and then in the foreground, behind the chest, we're seeing a pile of snow and or like gravel or something that a Guardian is standing on. Or this thing could just be huge and the Guardian is small by proportion because of the view. But again, just speculation. Let's keep moving.
Look beyond the frozen wasteland.
So this is actually interesting. This is gonna, he said this, it's like a No Man's Sky monolith from the game. Now, I'm not 100% sure what these are going to be doing, but this is actually interesting. Obviously, darkness, as you would expect. And then, in the background, this is the Pyramidion, because he explains this better in the video, but essentially, there are multiple Pyramidions on a ton of different planets, and every single time that you go into one of the different structures on different planets, you end up in the same place. So, theoretically, in the lore, if you went in on Io, for say, into the Pyramidion, you could come out on Europa. Now, that we can't do that due to the way that the missions work, but that is a theoretical that could happen, but it isn't what happens. Let's move on. He explains it way more in depth in his video. That's why I'm going to be linking it, since I'm not really the best at this. Let's crank up the volume a little bit. Varix is talking in the background. I also noticed that he wasn't really mentioning this very much, but in all of the scenes where you can see either like the house sigil and or Bungie logo, there's these red resonating things behind the ice. I'm not 100% sure what importance they will have, but they don't look like darkness to me, because darkness usually resonates with black and gold. And I don't really understand why they're there, but this has something to do with darkness. Probably just stasis design choice. I don't think it actually has that much importance, but I do think it's interesting to mention. Braytech Futurescape, Collapse City, probably going to be explorable and or where we do the raid in the Deepstone Crypt.
Europa is
Cool Sparrow.
the place.
Varix is talking in the background. Oh, hold up. Let's just...
Europa is a place of...
So, obviously, Varix is talking in the background. And this is going to be what the new Fallen look like. The House of Dark and or the Dark Empire. I believe we're going to be gray for their coloration of the house, unlike the House of Dusk and the House of Devils being orange or being purple and red, respectively. This is obviously just some Fallen architecture, not really much to it. It's just good to point out.
Many mystery.
Okay, these. My Name Is Byf actually goes into a lot more detail on what these are, but at this point they're mostly just a meme. They're just a harpy with feet. They look very similar to the Consecrated Mind from Garden of Salvation, except smaller, and they have legs, and they do feet yeets. I'm not 100% sure how lethal they'll be, or if they're exclusive. He also mentions how these might be a new race, or a new sub-race of Vex, due to the fact that they're in darkness architecture. Also, more of those chest things are over here. I'm hoping that these are similar to the Soul Divisive, and they just are working with the darkness, and it's like a second race, or a sub-race that works with the darkness. I'm not 100% sure, though. So, yeah, I think I can unpause now. Triangle thing, triangle platform, ice, Braytech something. I don't really know what the scene is. It's too dark to get much things out of it, or to get any information out of it, really. Okay, possible catch architecture due to the fact that how these doors are created. I'm suspecting that this is going to be inside of a catch due to the fact that the bridge doesn't look to connect to the walls very much, if you can see my mouse. This is more of a bridge type thing, and it goes through the middle of these, not a whole archway. This might be because of perspective, but I actually think that this is going to end up being a catch that we can explore. Kind of like how on Venus we could do the House of Winter's Fallen catch. Literally fallen, not just a fallen because of the race, like literally a fallen one that's fallen to the ground, or that's docked near a rock, I guess is better, but that's beside the point. Let's keep moving. This might be, I paused just in time. This is actually Varix, and hopefully he will end up not being a bad guy, and we don't end up having to kill him, because he's actually a very interesting character, and he's going to have some importance due to the fact that he's not a Kel. Because he betrayed the queen because he was trying to become a Kel, but he still has mechanical arms and he isn't Kel sized. Maybe that's a perspective thing, but he's narrating all of this, so I have a feeling we're gonna be working with him instead of against him.
Your way.
Yeah, most likely due to this. Actually, I'm not 100% sure what this fallen weapon is. I actually think it's a Vandal Sniper. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel the need to mention that it doesn't look exactly the same as other weapons. Doesn't look like the Lord of Wolves that captains use. It looks very similar. Yeah, that's probably just a Vandal weapon. I don't know why I'm mentioning it. This is probably going to end up being the catch that we explore. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have a feeling that it's either going to be like a public event, like My Name Is Byf was saying, or it's going to just be like a skybox thing that happens, or we're going to actually be able to be transmatted into it for a mission or strike.
We all come to this moon looking
Okay.
for answers.
Oh, I need to... I actually want to mention this. My Name Is Byf mentioned in the video how there's nothing really super interesting in this image. But if you look right here, where my mouse is, you'll notice that goblin doesn't have a head. And I know you're just going to be like fanatic, obviously. But it's not moving nearly as sporadically and or shooting at the players. Because clearly the Harpy can see us. So these two should be able to see us as well. And if the fanatic could see us, it would turn instantly and start shooting at us rapidly. So I'm assuming that that's going to end up being a new type of enemy, but I could just be wrong. Although it would be interesting if it is, because that does not look normal. Vex architecture right here, either that or ice. There's obviously ice over here. Nothing really too interesting in this, except for the idea that there are going to actually be storm environments where you can't see and you need hollow sight weapons to see enemies. That's going to end up being really cool, and I actually really like the design of this weapon, the hollow sight thing. I'm hoping that that this becomes a new meta or something, because this is a really interesting sight. And guns with cool sights, actually, I like them a lot, so that's just a personal thing, but I'm hoping. Anyways, let's move on. These are not going to be a new type of enemy. We've seen them before. They're like builder drones from the Glimmer Extraction event on the drill. I'm not 100% sure, but they look a lot bigger, and they also look a different coloration, so I'm hoping that they become a new enemy, like a Shank type. Like, maybe there'll be, like, a stealth section where it's, like, the Shanks will be scanning for an enemy, and there'll be Fallen that don't notice you because you're quiet or something. That'd be interesting, but I really doubt that they're going to delve down that path due to the unpopularity of stealth games currently. Like, if you ever talk about it, a lot of people say that they dislike it, so I doubt it, but if they do, I will say I'd be pretty excited, because I actually do like stealth missions. Anyways, let's move on. Databanks, Deepstone Crypt, Sniper Shanks, Dead Human Vex thing. Whatever the hell they're called. What are they called? They're called... Seriously, the one time I need to remember, they're called exos. Probably just a dead exo and or just a exo body that wasn't inhabited with a mind core or something.
What do you hope to find?
Braytech, Cold Braytech, Fallen Bridge. That's about all I can gather from this. There's really not too much information here.
Here.
Okay. I said I wasn't going to go too in-depth into anything, but I've already delved down that path, so I might as well mention this. I actually think that the pyramid ship that we go into on the moon and the ones that have been inhabiting all of the planets are drones. They're not actual ships being piloted by anyone. And I know that might sound obvious, but think about this. So notice how this pyramid ship has almost like a visor right here, how you almost like people are sitting inside of it watching us. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I'm thinking that this is an actual ship piloted by darkness creatures, or the darkness itself, and then the big Dorito ships are actually just drones. That's just speculation, but I actually think it makes a lot of sense. Also, more glowy red ice, and looks like Vex architecture, but it's probably just icicles. I'm not 100% sure. Now, that's not really a special... I think it's just a captain with tubes. I'm not really sure if that means anything. House Sigil. If you want to learn more about the reasoning or the interest behind it, go watch My Name Is Byf's video. He actually does a whole in-depth section about this sigil and what it means. More red stuff. And what is under the ice? No idea, man. Probably just this red stuff. Reverberating triangle thing. I don't really know how to explain it. Vex architecture is actually up here. And then ice and stuff over here. I don't really understand what this is, but hopefully it's interesting. Okay, this looks similar to the monolith at the beginning of the video, if you look in the corner of the screen. But he said that this was darkness architecture, and I'm not sure if this is just because of the snowstorm or the coloration. But this looks more white to me. And I understand it actually is very similar to darkness. But I don't think that this is darkness architecture. I actually think it might be a more, I don't even know what you would say, like, complicated and or modern Vex architecture. Because if you look at this looks white. Now, I understand that light refraction and the way that light affects objects' visibility changes the color of things. But this is obviously in a snowstorm. You can't see anything. There's no visibility and there's no light to refract off of this and make it white. So it's either this is light architecture, this is darkness architecture with weird light refraction, or this is Vex architecture that's modern. Now, obviously, all of those are kind of BS except for the darkness one, since light architecture is kind of dumb. That's more of humanity's thing, but I don't know. It's just interesting to mention due to the coloration of it, because usually it's black and gold, not a weird grayish white and gold. I'm not really sure what it is, but hopefully this has more importance at some point.
Europa has been home.
Fallen architecture, obviously. I actually do like the new armors a lot, like the backpack, the helmet.
To darkness for some time.
Okay, hold up. Mini Insurrection Prime, Fallen stuff, human stuff, Clovis Bray, Bray Tech, Exoscience, Deepstone Crypt. Really, that's all I can say about this room, although I will say it is very interesting what the Fallen are doing here.
Some time now.
That's just Vex and architecture. There's really nothing that has to do with it. It's just a fight. Although, this is interesting. If you go back, if you look right here, this guy isn't a player. This is one of those drones. Now, I'm not 100% sure what he's doing here, or what they are. I guess it's a robot, but I don't really understand why a sleeper bot type of robot is, or a sweeper bot type of robot is assisting us in battle against the Vex. I'm not 100% sure if this is just for aesthetic or this is actually going to be a thing that happens around the moon in the Braytech architecture. But I will say it is very interesting. Uncover the truth, blah, blah, blah.
Its history could be...
Okay. Exobody, Vex, he goes way more in depth about this, does like a 5 to 7 minute section on it. Essentially, the Vex and Exos are connected in some way. Really, I can't really explain it any better than that. Go watch his video, please. He goes way more in depth on it.
the key to our fight.
Okay, I like how this is probably going to end up being, like, Golden Age armor, due to the fact that that bond, obviously that bond, if you look at it, maybe you can see it a little bit better now, but if you look at the bond, it actually doesn't look like anything new. Because usually things that are new look different. This looks very old to me and him. He agrees. He actually said this, but if you look at it, you can probably agree with both of us. Looks very old. The whole set does, realistically. It doesn't look too... Oh, also this. I wonder if this is going to end up being a planetary set, like a raid set, or I'm not 100% sure what it's going to end up being, but I really hope it's not a raid set. I'm going to end up doing the raid at some point, but there's going to have to be guides made where I'm going to have to get Sherpa. It's going to be an absolute pain. But obviously that's problems that are going to happen later, not now. And it's just good to mention what it could be. I'm assuming it's planetary armor. But the thing is that nobody ever cared and or likes planetary armor, so I'm not 100% sure how well that's going to bode with the player base. But I guess we're just going to have to wait. Maybe they're going to make a new interesting system of getting it, like quest or something. I don't know. Let's move on. Another minute to go. Sorry, this might end up being 30 minutes. Probably going to have to title it My Name Isn't Byf, but this is going to end up being another 30-minute trailer. I'm not 100% sure.
Help me unlock it.
Vex Architecture, Garden of Salvation, raid thing, Harpy. Really not much that I can grasp out of this. It's interesting. Oh, this is going to end up being a new submachine gun. I would assume due to this and the sight. This is like a Mida mini tool, kinda. I'm not sure. Okay, My Name Is Byf actually goes more in depth on this, but essentially we're going to end up fighting higher up fallen, like strike bosses kind of thing, that are higher up on the chain that have ice powers. So ice is actually going to, or stasis itself is actually going to have to be something that we worry about in type matchups, like stasis burn. And if we do one of these strikes for like Nightfall the Ordeal, and we have to fight one of the bosses and it hits us with the ice beam, or it's just going to do more damage. It really isn't that complicated, but it is something that you have to mention due to the fact that I feel like players aren't going to catch on to that very quickly. So it's good to just say that. Titan Super or Titan Melee or something. But Fallen using it on Guardians because Stasis powers them out. Also, this is Vex architecture that the Fallen are in. Also, this weapon right here, I'm not sure which class is using it, because for me it's a little bit low res right now. But if you look, if you look, this beam isn't coming from over here. It comes out of a weapon that this Guardian is holding. So this is probably going to end up being a new solar trace rifle. I'm not sure, but I would venture to guess that they're going to add a fair few new trace rifles. Hopefully, at least. I love trace rifles. I hope that they eventually become meta, at least in PvE. But, you know, that's besides the point. Let's keep moving. This is actually a really interesting machine gun. I'm not really 100% sure why it has any importance, but I don't think that this is going to end up being an exotic, although they do a fair few frames where it's very obviously the prominent set piece that you're focusing on. So I'm not 100% sure whether or not it's gonna end up being an exotic. And it's like, oh yeah, the pipeline rifle or something, and it's like a straight line, long range, low fire rate machine gun. Although I do feel the need to mention that if this becomes an exotic, someone owes me $5. I'm not sure, but if you're viewing this video, you owe me $5.
Deepest secrets of Europa.
He have leg. He eat his feet. Very simple. Oh, holy crap! I actually do need to mention this. My Name Is Byf didn't mention this. I'm not 100% sure why. I think there's okay here. This is better frame. If you look right here, stop. No. If you look right here on the top of the screen, if you've done the divinity puzzles, you would know what this is. No, I'm not 100% sure why these are just in a random darkness architecture. And I think I figured out why the monolith earlier might have been white because of the snow covering it. But that, because look at here, this is obviously darkness architecture, but it is white similarly to that. So it's probably just refraction from the white snow and the snow falling on it. Anyways, these, I'm not sure what importance they'll have, but I do think it's interesting to mention that they're here outside of the garden raid. I'm not 100% sure why, but I think it's interesting. There's also a white one that's glowing with Vex energy. This is more War Mine V, I guess you could call it, and this is more Vexy. I'm not 100% sure what importance these will have or why they're different, but obviously something to keep in mind. Not sure why My Name Is Byf didn't mention this, but just keep that in mind.
Are now within our grasp.
Okay, he goes more in depth on this, but she summons that Splinter of Darkness like a ghost. If you don't know what a Splinter of Darkness is, go watch his video. He explains it more in depth. So he assumes that this is going to end up being a conduit to the dark, like we have a ghost that's a conduit to the light. Except this thing isn't going to be sentient like the ghost is. It's just going to be a conduit, not a helpful thing. It's not like the darkness is going to resurrect us. It's going to be like our ghost still does its job, but we have a thing that can summon darkness, I guess. And I would assume, knowing Destiny's developers, they're going to make a joke on this and make a ghost shell that looks like the Splinter of Darkness. I don't know. It's just a thought, but keep that in mind. This Insurrection Prime, it's a robot, so I'm not 100% sure why it has fur on it. It's also huge. Not the size of Insurrection Prime exactly, but it is like a good 3/4 the size. It's huge, at least compared to this Guardian. This is probably going to be how we end up damaging it when it does its attacks. Its weak point gets shown on its head. And obviously, he yeet with his feet and then explodes in radiolorian fluid. My Name Is Byf goes a bit more in depth on this, but this frame, I think it's the frame after this. It's kind of hard to get exactly. Oh, found it. Alright. Vex architecture, Vex portal, human data banks, and fallen technology. I'm not 100% sure what this means, but it is something to keep in mind. Vex, human, fallen. Why they're all together in one space? I would assume the fallen is using the databases from the humans to get information and open a gateway into the raid. Or something? Maybe there's going to be a second raid, or maybe... Actually, I think I just realized what this might be. You know, I do go a lot in depth, but My Name Is Byf didn't really mention this. I really have no proof to back this claim, but there's a possibility that this is how we get into the Vault of Glass. They're taking the architecture and databanks that are still intact that have information about where we can access the Vault of Glass. Because keep in mind, the Vault of Glass can be accessed from pretty much anywhere that has a Vex portal that has access to it. Oh no. No. That's the Black Garden. But here's the thing. If we're not going to end up going back to Venus, either what they're going to do is put it on Nexus, or they're going to have a portal that takes us directly into the raid from Venus, from a portal on Europa and or on Nexus. I'm not 100% sure why they're keeping Nexus, probably for the first reason. But if the latter is true, that would be very interesting. Also, this fallen technology is using radiolorian fluid for fuel. I think. It looks like it, but I'm not 100% sure. That's very interesting, though. Keep that in mind. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, November 10th, 2020. Pre-order the game, please. We need money. Deluxe edition, get stuff in game because the Mao pay us. Beyond Light, Destiny 2. We already showed you this. Wait, I think they show. Hold up, they show you something at the end of it. No, they don't. Nope, nothing. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day. Sorry that this video took a little bit longer than I expected. I was expecting like max 15 minutes, but a 1 minute and 54 trailer become a 24 or 25 minute video. So apologies for taking forever, but I did want to mention all the stuff that I thought My Name Is Byf missed and what I think is important. But yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day. Bye.